Ask the Expert, brought to you by Auger Hollingsworth.
Welcome back. It is time to Ask the Expert. We're going to be speaking with Brenda Hollingsworth of Auger Hollingsworth. And if you have any questions, come on, send the questions our way. You can even give us a phone call live, 613-789-6559, extension 2803. So we got Brenda Hollingsworth. She's here from Auger Hollingsworth to discuss what you need to know if you are injured after a slip and fall on snow and ice. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's great to have you on here today. We've got some straightforward questions for you.
Yes.
So we figure we're just going to fire off these questions. You're going to answer them. And if anybody, if you have similar questions or if you have a question, send them our way and Brenda will answer them for you. So,
Yep.
Brenda, got the first question for you. Okay, what do you wish everybody knew after a slip and fall on ice and snow?
Yeah, so the thing I wish everybody knew is that you, as the person who fell, has to be able to explain what caused you to fall. It's not enough to say it was slippery. You have to have seen something. You have to be able to describe what the problem is, because property owners don't have a standard of perfection. They don't have to be perfect. So you have to say there was a patch of ice, it was 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters, and there was no salt or sand. You need to be able to say that kind of thing specifically to make your case go smoothly.
No flourish, straight to the point.
Exactly.
Describe what happened.
Yep.
Try and keep the emotions down here, right? Because you tend to get a little bit
like the adrenaline's
heated.
going,
Yes.
your heart's pumping, but just take a look.
Okay.
Right, take a look.
Okay, and describe what happened. What about taking a photograph? Okay, you've fallen. You go, what? Wow, this was a bad fall. Is it? I mean, if you have the presence of mind, obviously you want to do it right then and there. But can you come back to the scene afterward and take a photograph?
The closer in time the photo is to the fall, the more persuasive it is. And when you're taking a picture, try to give some perspective. I have a lot of pictures in my files that are just snow. Like it's a picture of white snow with no frame of reference. So take the picture of snow if you want to show that it wasn't cleared, but also back up so we can see where that patch is.
What do you do with that photograph? I guess you just obviously save it on your phone, but how do you make sure that that piece of information, the information, gets to the right people? Yeah,
so if you're hiring a lawyer, you definitely want to provide every single photo that you took. So don't edit out just the good ones, and don't edit them. Don't Photoshop them. Don't brighten them. Don't do anything. Just send the picture to your lawyer. But even if you're dealing with something on your own, you may get asked, for example, if you're dealing with the city, you might get asked for what happened. There's nothing wrong with sending the pictures with your notice.
Brenda, can a personal injury lawyer help that individual who's, suffered the slip and fall, take those pictures, gather the evidence? Maybe they're not that great with the camera.
Yeah, so if you come to us quickly, we will absolutely do that. We have investigators, we have students, we do that all the time. Sometimes people, it's 4 or 5 months out. If it's July, I'm not going to be able to catch that snow.
There you go.
So, the sooner you do it, the better. Your case is not wrecked if you don't do it. I'm just talking about how to make it easier.
Okay, making it easier.
Yeah.
When that happens, and we hope that it doesn't happen because it can be quite devastating, a slip and fall on the ice.
It sure can.
You land wrong, you could end up in the hospital. You can end up out of work for a while.
We've had 7-figure cases where somebody slipped and fallen on ice, like the wrong fracture.
Yeah.
For somebody who has a physical job, for example, that can be career-ending.
Yeah.
Hit your head. We've had fatalities.
Okay. I am going to ask you this question. You're going to answer after the break.
Okay.
What's the deadline? Do you have a cutoff period to actually make that claim?
Yeah, important questions.
Let us know. We'll get to the answer in that question in just a minute. Now, if you've got a question for Brenda Hollingsworth of Auger Hollingsworth, send them our way. We'll get the questions to Brenda live. We're talking about slip and fall on snow and ice and what to do if you have done that, if you have slipped and fall. Okay, we'll be right back after this break. Ask the Expert continues after this.
the expert. Brought to you by Auger Hollingsworth.
Resuming our conversation here with Brenda Hollingsworth. If you have any questions for her, you want to get in touch with Auger Hollingsworth, there's their information on the screen, 613-233-4529. You can see the web address and their actual address on the screen as well, 1443 Woodruff Avenue and 304 O'Connor Street. So, Brenda, just before the break, I asked you a question. Is there a notification deadline? You've experienced a slip and fall, sustained injuries, you need to let people know. What's the deadline?
And believe it or not, the deadline for government entities can be as short as 7 days. Usually it's 10 days, so that's really short. You don't have to start a lawsuit in that time, but you do need to give a notice of a potential claim. And most municipalities in Ontario have a web form, and if you type in "make a claim" against name the city, it'll come up and you just give them the information. If it's private property, about 5 years ago, the provincial government passed a law also including a notice period for those types of cases, and that's 60 days. So 60 days written notice. It's not enough that the property manager saw you. It's not enough that you did an incident report. You have to give notice of a potential claim. So that's really important. Don't forget.
Okay, what form of notice must you give? When you say written notice, are you talking about on piece of paper, taking pen to paper and then mailing that in or sending it in?
So if you look at the act, it's in the Occupiers Liability Act, and if you look in that act, it will set out exactly how you're supposed to do it. I think it might be registered mail.
Okay.
You know, if you give written notice by email and they respond and you have proof that they received it, you're probably going to be okay. But strictly speaking, it's set out in a statute, and if you Google it or call us, we can explain.
Brenda, what happens if you miss that notice period? You were saying federal, it might be just as short as 7 days.
Yeah. So it's not definitely lost. The municipal rules have some flexibility. The 60-day rule has some flexibility. So you should still contact a lawyer.
Okay.
If you have a good reason, often there's a workaround, like if you're unconscious, for example.
Right. Hospitalized.
Sedated.
Okay.
So work with a lawyer and we'll see what we can do.
How much compensation does a person usually get for slip and fall?
In Ontario, there's a bunch of different types of damages. Your pain and suffering is dependent on what your injury is and how it impacts you. So a broken wrist for me, for example, might be worth less than a broken wrist for someone who plays a piano for a living. And then there's also sort of loss of income and your medical expenses that aren't covered by OHIP. So it really depends, and a lawyer can tell you that fairly easily.
Okay. Brenda Hollingsworth, always a pleasure to have you on, giving us this information. We're talking about slip and fall and what you do to protect yourself. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
If you want to get in touch with Brenda at Auger Hollingsworth, there's her information on the screen. Phone number 613-233-4529.